What's up, y'all? This is Daniel. We're proud of the Southland Kennels, and today we're going to be talking about the Round County Bulldog. Here is Viola. Just wanting to show y'all that she can be with the goats. She lives with the goats. And then we're going to flip the camera around and we're going to talk about these dogs. But it's just hard to get good footage when you're trying to be the cameraman. So right there she is. That's Viola. She lives full time with these pygmy goats, and she has been for about 4 months. So now we're going to talk about what we want out of our dogs and what we think we got. All right, I made a video the other day talking about Round County Bulldogs, and if you get a bulldog for me, whether it's an American Bulldog or an old-time Southern Bulldog, it's a Round County Bulldog. I wanted to talk a little bit about what that meant and why we're trying to separate our dogs. I'm wanting to separate my dogs because when people think of an American Bulldog, they think of typically a Johnson type dog. I guess what I'm trying to say is that didn't define my dogs. When I told people I had American Bulldogs, what I actually had, not what they pictured in their head. Well, then we moved on to the idea of a cross, and I'm not going to get into why we did that, but we done it. We got pups on the ground right now from that litter. Those pups will be registered as old-time Southern Bulldog through the NKC. And I thought that pretty much summed up exactly what we was trying to do with our dogs. Everything I've ever read and the people I've talked to talked about these Southern Bulldogs being farm protectors, farm guardians, livestock dogs, utility farm dogs. You know, you name it, they'll do it. Well, then, even with that name, carries a little bit of controversy, and there's people already out there that's used that term for their dogs long before I came around, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, so we're going to continue to register our dogs through a kennel club as long as we can, just for documentation and ancestry purposes. If you get a dog for me and it's got papers on it, and that pedigree is accurate. As long as it says that I'm the one that bred those dogs, it's accurate. But I know that my dogs are not the typical American Bulldogs. I know that my dogs are not the typical old-time Southern Bulldogs. So that's why I call my dogs now Round County Bulldogs. As far as the bloodline goes, you might get paperwork with a breed name on it. Hey, they're old-time Southern Bulldogs. Okay, what bloodline? Well, they're the Round County bloodline. Well, them are American dogs. What bloodline? Well, they're the Round County bloodline. It's because my dogs are different. In my opinion, and I am not trying to say that what other people are doing with their dogs is wrong. I'm just saying it's not what I'm doing. They're doing something different. They have every right to. But when people come to me all the time and say, I want to catch dogs, well, I don't breed catch dogs. So, you know, most of the dogs, American Bulldogs in the working world now that I see are either they're doing sleeve work and bite work, protection work, or they're woods dogs. They're catching hogs in the woods. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Just what I ran into was I was buying too high a prey driving dogs. So, old-time Southern Bulldogs, I think, are probably the same exact thing. Well, they're not really protection dogs. They're more of the catch dogs. So a catch dog typically has a high prey drive. They don't need it, but people breed for it a lot. And them dogs just, there's nothing wrong with it at all. If you want to catch a hog in the woods, then you need that dog that's been going to be ready to do it. And when he gets punched in the mouth, he's going to come back for more. Nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm learning as I've went through these dogs. I've had these dogs for about 8 years. First one I bought that was papered was Nealon, and Nealon acted a certain way, and I just figured, well, this is the first one I bought. They all act this way because it's a breed. You know, there's similarities. That's why there are breeds. There's the characteristics and attributes and temperaments are consistent. It wasn't the case, though, for me, at least with the dogs that I purchased. Nothing wrong with that. I use some of those dogs as brood stock to get the dogs that I have now. If it wasn't for them dogs, I wouldn't have this one right here sitting here with me. And I do want to acknowledge, too, that a lot of that was my fault. I didn't really know what I was doing. Had too many dogs at that time and wasn't being able to give them the one-on-one time they needed. I worked my dogs every day for probably 3 hours most days. to the point to where I felt like I wasn't being the husband and father I needed to be. I was constantly out here focused on this. So we had to dial things back, and things are going so much better now. Pray to the Lord above on everything. Make sure that what we're doing is according to His will, and He allows us to do it. And we'll try to just follow His leadership and guidance. Try not to make the plans on our own. So we're wanting some dogs that'll be good with the farm animals and protect them. There's not a test, at least for me, that I can run these dogs through to certify them or qualify them, because they have to live it all day, every day. But the other day, man, this girl right here was doing some side-by-side training, trying to get her a little bit warmed up to the side-by-side. And she was a little bit hesitant to enter and exit it. And with about 5 minutes of her getting comfortable with it, we're on the backside of the property there, and a stray dog comes at us that I didn't hear. Now, the side-by-side's only got nets on it, so if that dog wanted to get in there and get me and I didn't know it, it probably could have. But I'm not trying to be dramatic about it. But within 5 minutes of her being comfortable just to enter and exit on her own, which was really hesitant still, there was a lot of thought that went into it. She flies out the window. She jumps over the net out of the side-by-side that is moving. I'm thinking, what's she doing? She runs that dog off and comes back. And just little stuff like that. The only test that you can do with a dog is just to let them live that life that you're wanting them to live. On the farm dog, anyhow, is what I'm talking about for me. Is just get out there, let them live it. Is she perfect? By no means. She's doing fine with this little herd of pygmy goats right here, but we're about to run into an issue, potentially. These goats right here are going to drop kids in about 8 weeks, probably 4 to 8 weeks at the very earliest. She hasn't shown that she does well. She hasn't shown that she does well with small goats. But maybe if them goats are in there with their mamas, then they'll keep her off of them. She's getting a little bit excited. But so it's just we're learning, and we hope that more and more people want to get the bulldog back on the farm. Doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter if it's an American bulldog, if it's an old-time Southern bulldog, if it's a Catahoula bulldog, if it's an Alapaha blue blood bulldog, if it's an old English bulldog, if it's an American pit bull terrier. I think bulldogs need to be back on the farm, and that's all we're trying to do. So when we talk about Round County Bulldogs, I'm not saying my dogs are special. I just know that they're different, but different don't mean they're good. Different don't mean they're for you. So anyhow, that's what we wanted to discuss today, to let everybody know what we're trying to achieve and where we're at with it. This new pup that we keep, we either go with chickens. She'll probably start off with the chickens for a little while, then she'll move up to the younger goats, and maybe into the pasture with the big goats. What we've experienced in the past is you don't want to put two bulldogs in before they're both ready, because one might be ready and good and the other one might not be. So they'll compete with each other, and then you got one dog that just backtracks and loses all of its sense and accomplishments that it's gained because that competitive drive pops out of them. And if one's doing something that it ain't supposed to be doing, and this one right here may start it. So we got to be patient with it. But I'm hoping in the next couple of years we can actually start moving to the back of our property. But we got to have better dogs to be further away from the home, and that's a drawback to these dogs versus some of the typical livestock guardian dogs. Is these dogs actually still want and need their people, whereas the Great Pyrenees will acknowledge its family, but don't necessarily need it. But me breeding a Staffordshire Bull Terrier in, them are really needy type dogs as far as their people go, and American Bulldogs are too. Hop down, girl. Hop down. As you can see, she just likes to be petted, but she'll keep stuff away. So anyhow, this is just a video to sum up what we're trying to do and where we're at with it. So until next time, this is Daniel. We're proud of the Southland Kennels. Thank you for watching.